Hello makers, Cristie here from Joyful Art Studio. I'm bringing another fun project for a maker studio to you. And today we're gonna be playing with a stencil and we're gonna make a garden flag to prop in a potted plant out in your front yard or maybe along the walkway in your garden. And we're going to use this fun one. And Maker Studio is going to give away one of these. So make sure down below to click on share it with 3 friends or tag 3 friends so you can have a chance to win this and make a garden flag, or maybe you have some other awesome ideas. This one's a very versatile one. It says live life in full bloom, has some great little flowers on there. Could be maybe some, to me they look like a bit of a cherry blossom or an apple blossom. It's got so many different little intricate details. That's what's so amazing about these stencils. So I'm excited to use this and show you how to make a garden flag out of inexpensive supplies, and then you can spice it up with your own Maker Studio stencil. So make sure you share, make sure you tag, so you can have a chance to win. So I'm going to turn my video camera down for you so you can have a good look at what I'm doing. I don't want you to miss anything, and then we will get started. Welcome, and tell me where you're from. Tell me if you have some fun ideas to use this stencil or maybe some other ideas for garden flags. I am an avid gardener, so I'd love to spice up my area outside too. So welcome, and I'm excited to create with you. I wanted to show you how first I made this flag. This is just 1 yard of fabric folded in half. This is the part that would be the raw edge, and this is the folded part if you got it off of a bolt. This actually was a 1 yard piece that I just got from my local department store, and so we are not gonna sew it. I do not want to mess with that. So this is going to be ripped and glued. But what I did was, I will show you over here how I did it, but I ripped this seam over here. This is gonna be my garden flag holder. So I do want to make sure it is going to fill it up. So I'm just going to do a little snip here, put my garden flag to the side, and I have this little snip here, and I'm just going to tear it. So this will be a great length, or width actually. This will be our width for our garden flag. I'm gonna fold it in and hot glue it, and then I'm also going to trim it and fold it in for a hem, but I'll explain more of that as we go along. So we have measured it, ripped it. Now we can rip that way. And what that does when you are ripping it is it makes it square, because it is tearing it along the inseam. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open it up, kind of finger press it in, and I'm gonna go ahead and iron it. I'm gonna take it off to the side. I'll iron this seam in, and then we'll come back and glue it. So I have folded this in only about, a half an inch, maybe a fingernail. I didn't measure it. I didn't worry about it being perfect. This is just to have fun, but I'm keeping the fold so you can see. Now our edges on the sides are folded in on both sides. Here is our original fold, and here is our torn end. Okay, and what I'm just gonna do is, so I have a clean edging on the sides. I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to come along here and just finger press it down. This is not any special kind of hot glue at all. And this fabric is just some muslin type cotton fabric. You could even use burlap and not worry about the edges. Some canvas, anything you have, just some sort of upcycled, an old sheet would be another good option. I'm gonna do this side. And the reason I'm doing it on the fold is because it is a little bit of a thinner cotton, so I just want the sturdiness of 2 layers so that the opacity is there. Come along, we're almost done this side. There we go. Okay, so here we have our flag, the beginning. So what I want to do is I have 2 dowels here that are about the length of, or actually the width of my flag. And I like to keep these on there just because it gives it some structure when it's hanging so it doesn't fold on itself. So this is the top, and I'm gonna first do the bottom. So the bottom is the side with the frayed edge, and honestly there's no real reason why you couldn't use either, but I'm going to look and see I'm gonna put that right at the end and give it enough fabric just to be able to glue. And I am gonna kind of give my little dowel a little bit of glue just to hold it in place for me. Hot glue makes things so easy. And that's gonna be the bottom. Now for the top, I'm going to want to come down enough that I can slip that flag hole through. You can see mine has a little bit of a hook. Your might be different. This is just an inexpensive flag, but I am gonna do that so that I know this hook end will fit. So this is how it's gonna hang. I'm just gonna finger press it. I'm not going to glue it yet because I want to print it first so that we don't have any kind of wrinkles and bumps in there. But see, that just even finger pressing is gonna give me a fold. I know where my edge is and I won't have to worry about printing my stencil over it. Okay, so we have our garden flag that we just made. The back side is of course the one that has been folded on. So I'm gonna lay that towards you. This is the top where I put the little dowel rod, and you can see here where I finger pressed that. So today we are going to work with this fun life in full bloom stencil. So I always like to fold in my sticky part and leave it there. I'm gonna keep my white cardstock in there, so helps to have some structure when I am storing it. I'm gonna go ahead and write back on my stencil before I start printing it with it. And these stencils are fantastic because they have all this white area is where it is going to allow the ink, which is what we're using today, to flow through. So I have a little variety of colors here, and I think I'm gonna do this part in black. Probably, I like to kind of place it right there, off to the side. And then I'm gonna use these and do a variety of some more fall colors with those. And I'm gonna definitely use this Bless My Heart and Lord Have Mercy, which is a bit of an orangey color. And then I have my black for Can't Never Could. And that's what I'm gonna do my letters in. And I might use a little bit of black, just touches of it, for the branches. Okay, so going to make sure I don't have any little threads or anything fuzzy on there. And these stencils you can just use right off the backing. So I'm gonna pull that off. I'm gonna place this. I kind of like things when they're a little off center. So I'm gonna place this right here. And I'm gonna be using these again to make that border a little bit bigger, but we will get to that. So the first thing I'm going to do is burnish this in place. Make sure there's no wrinkles, just using my finger, giving it a good solid rub. Sometimes going back and forth and then in a little circle. And this fabric, I did not pre-treat it. I had taken it right out of the package from when you saw me make this little flag with the hot glue and my iron. So I have some little tools. These little squeegees are really fantastic. So I've got this flat one, and I have this one that has some rounded edges over there. And then I have this great little pen, which has a bit of a flat tip there and more of a marker size tip on this end, which will be great for getting in those little nooks and crannies. So to start off, I am just gonna put some of this black just over where my words are gonna be. And I'm using ink today, so there's nothing that we need to do to this. This will be a permanent ink on my fabric. You don't need to treat it afterwards at all. I'm making sure that I'm getting all those white areas. My rule of thumb is kind of start off with less ink because you can always add more, but if you have too much, you cannot get it back into those little tubes, and I don't like to waste it. But I cannot tell you how much I love these inks. They flow through these mesh stencils beautifully, which are very much like a silk screen. Just noticed I had a little bit of white here, so I put a little bit more out. Put some right here. So that's looking good. If you don't have one of these squeegees though, you definitely could use one of the little plastic ones or a card, like a plastic gift card. Set that aside, and that looks really good. So now I'm gonna come in with my red, which is Bless His Heart. I just love the names of these. I'm gonna dab some around on these flowers. Then I'm going to take some of this orange color, Lord Have Mercy, and dab some of that around. Mostly doing right on the flowers here. Take care of those first, and then I'm gonna take care of the sticks. Wipe my little squeegee off. And I like using more than one color. It makes it more interesting, not so flat. So I'm just coming in here carefully up to the edge. Just want it a little bit. I know it's not close to fall, but I am dreaming of fall because it is hot here in Northern California. August is pretty warm. I am in Northern California, up near Napa, and thankfully we are blessed with cool nights, so it makes it tolerable, but it's still hot. I'm kind of covering those. And I like just letting it happen kind of organically, not being particular. There we go. And I am going to come in with just a little bit of black. I'm gonna put it on this flat end of this little, just enough to bring in some where those sticks are, the branches, that, just to give it a little bit of depth. So don't forget to tell me where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, let me know what kind of ideas you have. Who else is ready for cooler weather? Maybe you're on the other side of the world and having a lovely winter right now. But it's always better wherever you're not, right? Okay. And I might dab a tiny bit where I see some of these flower centers. And it's gonna kind of mix with that orange, so, and red. It's not gonna be a true black where I'm putting this in, but that's okay, that's exactly what I want. Okay, now for the reveal. Wow, lovely. So, I do want to do more of this, but I'm going to go ahead and wash this off. So I've got my little water bath, and I'm just going to tuck it in there before I take it to the sink. When I'm doing a project, I like to keep a little water next to me just in case. But I do love how the black and the orange and the red are all blending together to make an interesting stencil. This is still a little bit wet. I just washed this in a little bit of water and let it dry. It didn't take very long at all. I'm not gonna reuse the words, of course. I just want to add more of these blooms around. So I want it to be a little bit more random. So I think I'm going to kind of see here, you can see through it a little bit. So So I'm gonna burnish it in again. If you wanted to be careful, you could put some painter's tape there, which actually I think would be a good idea. I just have this art tape I'll use. Not tacky at all. That'll help to not go over, if I can't see. And I'm not even gonna push it down very hard, just gently. This is just some low tack art tape. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and do this, burnish it down where we're gonna want it. And I know my tape is right in there, I can see it. And I still have a little bit on my squeegee. Get some red in there. I'm gonna just dab the black there. I actually really loved the way the black blended with the orange and red. Okay, so here we go again. Going very carefully to the edge because I don't want to make some lines on the edge there. Just tape in that section, so. I am loving it. Take off this little bit of tape. Just want to look and see if I have some space where I might need to add something. What do you think? I think, you know, sometimes I like to do a little bit of an artistic finish, and so I'm going to actually just do a little bit of a splatter, which I can do with this ink. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit, I have this little cup here. I'm going to put a little bit of my bath water from my stencil in there. I'm going to make that into more of a liquidy paint, see? And I just have a little chip brush here. And first I'm gonna get most of it off. And I'm just gonna come around these edges and give it a little tap. Oh, I like that. Then I'm actually gonna put a little bit of red in there too. I'm just adding it to the orange. I love a splatter. There's something about a splatter just kind of takes it to the next level. All right, there we go. And you can see I just filled in a little bit of that white space with a few more blooms. See that splatter there? And so what I'm gonna do is, I actually just noticed I did a goof, and I put my stencil on upside down, but that's okay. I am going to go ahead and do this side with my stick, which should have been the top, but since I messed up, it's now the bottom. And what I'll do is I will just use some ribbon to make a slip for the hole, for the flag stand. And I will show you exactly how I'm gonna fix my mess up. Because I got so excited about stenciling, I accidentally did it upside down, but that's okay. Happy accidents. All right, so who else out there has messed up on a craft project and you've spent so much time on it that you did not want to redo it? So that happened to me today. Even us artists and creatives and makers that do crafts and art every day, we mess up too, and it's okay. Just like Bob Ross said, happy accidents. Make the best mistakes. So I'm going to add some ribbon, and I actually have had this burlap ribbon. I've been wanting to use it and it goes perfectly. So I'm going to glue this, since I did mine upside down. This time I know up is this way. So I'm going to quickly give that some hot glue on both sides. I'll show you. So I have just hot glued it on the back, and now I'm going to hot glue it to the front. It's gonna go perfectly on my little flag. And I love having the wood on both sides so that it stays straight, it doesn't get all tangled, and I can't wait to go put it in my garden.